Howdy, it's Jim Morado, and this is early July 2023. I'm on the campus of Ole Miss University in Mississippi, and this is close to Oxford, Mississippi. I think the towns or the places are pretty much forever linked. And honestly, let me be 100% honest. Really didn't know a lot about the campus. Still don't. But we spent a few nights here as we traveled through Mississippi, mostly seeing Civil War sites. And this campus really made an impression on us. It's beautiful. I mean, like freakishly beautiful. We were just absolutely blown away. Driving around, I believe this is kind of one of their little Greek row areas. I went to a small private school. We didn't have sororities and fraternities and that kind of thing, but we thought this was just pretty. Some of these buildings were just unbelievably pretty. There's a sign for the dead house. The dead house is no longer there, but the dead house was used during the Civil War by Forrest with the Confederates and Grant with the Federals. I believe as a morgue, maybe as a hospital, but there was a historic marker there for that. I wanted to point that out. But yeah, we mostly were seeing Civil War sites, and Ole Miss definitely has some serious Civil War history. And there's a Confederate cemetery on campus. I'll put up a whole separate video up about that. They have a monument and a cemetery, and several buildings that were utilized during the Civil War. So I'm going to put up just a whole separate video on that, but this is us just kind of walking around and driving around campus. I did pick up a good book, though, Oxford in the Civil War, Battle for a Vanquished Land by Stephen Enswiler, who gets into a whole lot of the personalities of the people involved in Oxford in this area during the Civil War, and it's just a really well written book. And yeah, just a fun read, an enjoyable read. He gets into something early on in the book, the concept that the South was enslaved to the institution of slavery, and I thought that was a very interesting concept. Of course, there's a lot of discussion of Jeff Davis, and being the guy from Mississippi there, he pops up a lot in the story. But there's local politicians and how they influence the entire Civil War too. And I enjoyed this book, and I wanted to mention it real quick. We did arrive on the campus of Ole Miss late on a Thursday night. We stayed at the inn at Ole Miss, which we really enjoyed. I'm going to put up another video about that. Really sweet, friendly staff working there. They had a shuttle that would take you back and forth between the inn at Ole Miss and the square in Oxford. You could walk it. It would be a nice walk. It was really hot, though. We were not up for that particular walk, so we did utilize that shuttle service. We had a driver named Phil who was a lot of fun. But yeah, we had a really positive experience with the inn at Ole Miss. And I would say now we are fans of this college. This is just a great college. I can't say enough about it. Look at it. Look, it's beautiful. It's nice. It's wonderful. And like I said, we got here late Thursday. Students aren't really here at the moment, so it was kind of quiet in general. And we walked around, and it was just a very pleasant campus to walk around, in the evening. But we spent a lot of time just walking around during the day, during the night. We spent a lot of time here on campus, and we spent a lot of time down on the square in Oxford. And again, I'm going to put up more videos, but we enjoyed Oxford. There's Square Books. I love books. Possibly one of my favorite bookstores I've ever come across. We just had a wonderful time in this area, and we kind of used this as our headquarters as we explored Mississippi. We went down to Mississippi State. We saw the President Grant Library and Museum, and we saw several other sites. We went to several other places, and this was just sort of our our main spot that we came back to, and we just really, really enjoyed it. I was talking to Phil, our shuttle driver, while we were here, and I mentioned to him he mentioned that there are several. You'll see several Manning references, especially to Eli and Archie. And I've not ever really kept up with college football, but I was a big fan of the Manning brothers. Over the last decade or two while they were playing. Peyton. I was a big fan of Indianapolis, and I always liked Peyton, and I mentioned that, and Phil let me know Peyton was not as popular on this campus as Eli and Archie, the dad, and he explained to me that Peyton chose to go elsewhere during his college career. So I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, looking at more pretty buildings here on the campus of Ole Miss. And like I mentioned, we went down to the square in Oxford, and it was hopping. It was a very lively area. Kind of reminded me a bit of New Orleans, but a little more chill. And by that I mean it's still very electric, but a little more sane might be the word. But I started thinking, man, when there's a football game going on and when college is in session, I bet that area can be fairly rowdy. So, but yeah, we just really enjoyed the pace and the feel of this area. And here's some of where we were walking around at night, just admiring everything. As you can tell, just a very nice, pleasant place to be. Very calm. I could walk right through campus and hear those insects. And that is the South to me. That reminds me of my granddad's farm growing up in western Kentucky. Pretty much when I think of my granddad, he passed away in 1985. Big, tough German farmer. When I think about him on the farm, wearing his overalls, I can hear those little crickets and other bugs making their nightly sounds. And this kind of reminded me of home. For what that's worth. We did cover a big chunk of campus. I guess if I thought about it, I should have asked if there was a way to do a more formal tour of the campus, but we did pretty good on our own, just kind of wandering around. I believe the student population when school is in session is around 23,000. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. I know Phil pointed out their baseball field, and it looked gorgeous. I would love to get back here. And there's a sign for the Dead House again. I would love to get back here and catch one of their baseball games. It just looked like a wonderful place to take in a game. I kind of felt like, though, that the town of Oxford wasn't too big, and even for definitely what I would call a bigger school at 23,000 students, it had a calm vibe to it. I just really enjoyed being here, and I get the appeal of a place like this. Anyway, do you live in the area? Did you go there? Let me know what I missed. I'm sure we're going to be going back because we had a really good time hanging out